the transformative power of God's Word to strengthen your relationship. Hey there, everybody. Welcome back to the Love How Deep podcast. We are, as always, thrilled that you're choosing to listen to our podcast, and just really hope and pray that this is making some good positive changes in your marriage. So today we have a two-parter. This is called Friends and Family Tips, because when you get married to your spouse, you're kind of marrying their friends and family too. And so sometimes that can be tricky to navigate, and sometimes it's not so tricky. So we just want to give you some tips and share some things with you about navigating friends and family in your relationship. And
yes, I'm looking forward to this episode. But before we dive in, wanted to let everybody know we are in a new studio. It's in our basement, and it's not in our little closet anymore. So we are stepping up our game, right?
That's right. We've got a nice space that we've just finished, and it feels pretty cool down here. It's kind of loungy.
Right.
It's our bougie lounge.
Yeah, right. And I will say we are developing a YouTube channel, and we are going to start putting our faces out there. So you're going to start seeing at some point our faces, and we will probably bring you into this nice basement at some point. So,
yes.
So looking forward to that. Sorry, Heather, didn't mean to divert you from our topic and what we've got to talk about today. So
it's all good. It's all good.
Friends and family, but you are right. When you marry with your spouse, you are gaining a whole bunch of family and friends that you've got to navigate and deal with. And so it's not easy sometimes.
Right.
I think we've got it figured out, but
I think so.
Sometimes for a lot of people, they don't. So
Right. Because you can't control the other person and how they're going to, respond in situations, or, if your friends or family are kind of overstepping the boundaries and that sort of thing. And maybe we need to put some boundaries in place. We're going to definitely have some discussions about all those things. And this is going to be, I don't think I mentioned it, this is going to be a 2-part mini-series. So today we're going to focus on friends. And then next week we're going to focus on families.
Mm-hmm. Sounds good.
Yeah.
And would you like me to kick it off with some questions for you?
Let's do
That'd
it.
be good. Yeah. So your first question, Heather, is, do you spend time with couple friends, and how does this benefit your relationship?
We definitely spend time with couple friends, and it's always been something that's been a goal of mine to kind of go, like, I guess consider them like double date nights or whatever with your friends, and I think, because you said how does it benefit your relationship, so I'm thinking through that one. So I think it's just good to see how other couples interact with each other, for them to see how you interact with your spouse.
That's good.
And I think it's always fun to share stories with them, because sometimes, life is just so busy that you only get to talk to, say, your coworkers or something about work, and then maybe about something personal. And then, there's so many other distractions in our life, whether they're good or bad or not. I think that, we're talking to each other, to your spouse, about your life, your feelings, whatever's going on. But it's also good to get together with other couples and share your life with them. Maybe it gives you a chance to speak into their lives, speak into their marriage. It develops stronger bonds within the four of you. If one couple's going through a hard time, you can support each other. You can celebrate victories with each other. It's just, we're very relational people. And I feel like this is what we do. We make an effort to try to get together with some couple friends. I don't know, would you say once a month or every other month?
Yeah. Something like that.
We just had a couple over here last night. We called it christening our little bougie basement lounge. We had them over and had some dinner and hung out and talked with them. So just sharing that time with other people, investing in their lives. That's always good.
Yeah. But I really like what you said in the beginning there. You talked about kind of watching another couple and seeing how they do things well, and then maybe we take some of that and we implement it into our own relationship. So
and maybe they learn from you too.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Like the couple we had over last night, they have season football tickets to college football team here in town, well, here in the state of Virginia, James Madison University. And so that's one of the things that I think you and I have taken from that is that, doing things together, as a couple, and then also doing things with them. So that's good. So let's see. Oh, here's a good one that I want to ask you about. Are there times when other couples' issues bleed into your own relationship, and how do you recognize when this is happening? I would say, can I answer this one first?
Yeah, maybe we should tell the listeners that we've not really planned out what we're going to say.
Right.
So
this is all off the cuff.
Yeah, so when you get this like dead air space, don't think there's something wrong with your what do you
radio
call it?
dial.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just Heather thinking.
Yes.
But go ahead, answer your own question, Brian.
Yeah, I mean, for us, I think you and I. The key for this not to have it bleed into your own relationship is you staying tight. And I think you and I stay pretty tight with each other.
Yeah.
We're always bouncing things off of each other. We're always communicating. In fact, sometimes I feel like we over communicate. And I tell that to people, like when I'm talking to people that are struggling and communicating with each other, I will tell them how you and I communicate with each other. And I will say, hey, from your perspective, it may appear that we probably over communicate. So I'm not saying you have to do everything that we do, but you probably need to do more of it. So I think the tighter that you stay together, the less that things will seep in, right? I mean, I don't know if that's a good way to say that.
Yeah, I don't feel like this is an issue for us, but maybe you've got some friends that you feel like their problems are bleeding into your marriage, and maybe it's causing a little rift between you and your spouse. And so I think it's important to realize when that's happening and I guess put a stop to it, like talk to your spouse about it. Like if you feel like some friends are becoming problematic for you, maybe you and your spouse have a discussion about whether or not you should spend time with them. And if some choices that they are making are just not good choices, then you definitely would want to kind of distance yourself a little bit. If you feel like the two of you are in a disagreement about whatever the problem is with the other couple, I think good communication comes in there about how you feel like those people are causing issues for you, how it's making you feel, and why it's maybe not a good thing or why it is a good thing, but using some good communication strategies that we talk about on here all the time of really actively listening to one another to come to some decisions and agreements about how friends should be handled when it's interfering in that way.
Right. And then obviously, of course, praying about it, praying to God about what would them. Good. I like that. Yeah. Praying to God about wisdom and discernment for how you should handle whatever the situation is that's going on, praying for protection from God. And also, like you said, very importantly, praying for them as well. So yeah, very good. Yeah. This is a good one. Have you discussed boundaries of sharing details of your relationship issues with family and friends? I will say before you answer this one, I have seen this a lot where there's one person in the relationship that's more private and the other is not. And the other will just kind of want to say and share everything. And the other person is like, whoa, and then all of a sudden you've got problems.
They don't need to know that.
Yeah.
I think that is so common that one is an oversharer and one is an undersharer, I guess, more of a closet kind of personality. And I think if you know how your spouse is, then I think there's a certain level of respect that you need to have for them, that whatever you're sharing may embarrass them. They may not want anyone to know. And so you want to respect that and keep that, just between the two of you.
Or even ask, hey, if I shared this, do you think it would be helpful if I was able to share this and get the opinions of someone else, or would you rather not?
Right.
And then you're able to have that conversation in your own private home and then leave it there if that's where it needs to be left.
Right. That's definitely, I think, such such a good thing to always keep in mind about the stories that you tell, even if they are fun or funny, like in jest or whatever, they might make your spouse feel less than or stupid, honestly, or just embarrassed or whatever. And it's like, I don't want people knowing that. So just give your spouse that love and respect, and have that talk first, like do you care if I share this or whatever? Or it could be that it's not even something that could potentially embarrass your spouse. It could be that like you are going through something personally, or maybe you as a couple, maybe you're going through something personal, or your spouse is going through something personal. How much do you share with your friends? How much do they need to know?
Right.
Because when you start sharing private stuff with friends, they feel that they can now give you all the advice in the world. Maybe it's good advice, maybe it's not good advice, but you start to get a lot of opinions, and you get their belief systems, and it's almost like it's become a community up for discussion sort of thing, and it doesn't necessarily need to be.
Right.
So, I think that like when we lived in Florida, we had an opportunity to move to Virginia, and Brian and I did not share with anyone that we were praying about this, because we did not want to have, we didn't tell our friends, we didn't tell our family. We didn't want to have all the added extra input of opinions or beliefs or what have you. And it wasn't like we were keeping a big secret. It's just that we needed to stay focused on what was God's will for our lives. And so we did not share until we had come to a decision. And I think, that was hard for our families to not sort of know that this was coming. It was such a shock to them. Yeah. But I think either way, it would have been a shock to them. And I hope that they understand now, why we didn't say anything. It wasn't that we were keeping a secret from them. It's just that our focus was doing God's will and what he wanted us to do.
Right. We wanted to just stay tight with each other, tight with God, and let's keep it there, and that'll keep us clear-headed, and we'll make the right decision. Because sometimes, when you get a lot of other people's opinions, it can
interfere.
Yeah, it kind of makes it a little staticky on what you want to do.
That's so funny. I was just thinking of that word staticky as well as you said that.
Right. Yeah. See, you and I are on the same wavelength, aren't we? We're sharing it in real time, or showing it in real time. So what else we got here? You want to ask me some questions?
Sure. Okay.
Fire away.
Do you have concerns about your partner spending time with certain friends or coworkers?
So, I would say no, because
I don't have problems with your coworkers because you don't have any.
Right.
Just kidding.
Yeah. Well, we may have shared this before on the podcast. I don't remember, but when you and I first, I don't know,
yes,
we've shared it. Dating. I think we were married, right?
No, we were dating.
We were dating. So it was very innocent. What I thought was innocent at the time. I went out to lunch with 3 female coworkers, and you said, "Hey, how was your day?" And the highlight of my day was lunch, I guess. And so I mentioned it, and you got really upset with me, and I didn't really understand what the issue was. But then, we talked it out and recognized and realized from your past there'd been some issues,
yes,
and around something like that. And so, And so, but it was more than that. It was also me coming to terms and understanding that, hey, this is, even if you hadn't had that, this is probably not appropriate. So at least for us, I mean, I guess you that are listening, you have to make your own decisions about this. But for us, we just decided, you know what, no gatherings with people of the opposite sex, pretty much, if that's all of the people that are there, so to speak,
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's, a boundary that is set in place for both of us. And just because it keeps our marriage so much more pure, it keeps away anything that could be misconstrued by other people. It keeps,
Yeah.
And
I did several
I'm
years.
making sense. I'm sorry, y'all.
No, you're fine. Several years later, I do remember it at one of the places that I worked at. I had a female, and I know it was completely innocent. She was married. I could tell she was happily married. I obviously was happily married and still am. And she said, "Hey, you want to go grab a bite to eat later?" Again, very innocent. And I said something to the effect of, "I know this is going to sound probably a little bit weird, but I don't do that, and here's why. And it's nothing against you." And, I wasn't a jerk about it, but I just explained this is why. So, yeah.
I think it's a very high level of respect for your spouse.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted to also mention, like, maybe you feel like your spouse has friends that are bad influences, and you don't like when your spouse is going out with them, and because of just kind of the results of what you see, and you don't want that to rub off on your own spouse. So that takes, here comes that word again, communication. Good communication, to say something like, when you go out to dinner with that friend, it makes me feel a little bit nervous, and I feel that way because, and you can write down my words. I feel that way because. So you're saying that this is how I feel, and you're giving the reason why. And you're not attacking your spouse like, you need to stop hanging out with this person. They're awful. And you come back from having dinner with them and you're so rude to everyone. You're starting to behave like him, like whatever it is. You want to, refrain from attacking the person and attacking your spouse, and really explaining from your heart what you see going on. And maybe your spouse will listen to you and just give that some thought, some consideration. Maybe they don't, but just keeping that communication going there about that.
Yeah. And obviously, in everything that we talk about, we do talk a lot about praying. So, instead of being that little hen pecking, critical voice, just pray, say, God, I don't feel right about this, whatever, my spouse is hanging out with this person. It's concerning to me. Help me with this, help them with this, that kind of thing.
Right. So. Another tip I want to give on that is that maybe you're the one that has the friends that your spouse is not fond of, and they have come to you to share their feelings on this. Put yourself in their shoes and think of it from their viewpoint, So that, I think that could help a lot for you both to put each other in the other person's shoes, and just take a good hard look at those relationships.
Yep. It's good. All right. I'm going to put you back on the hot seat and, let's see here. Would there be a situation in which it would be better to end the friendship for the sake of your relationship with your partner?
Wait, read that one more time.
Would there be a situation in which it would be better to end the friendship for the sake of your relationship with your partner?
I mean, you and I don't believe have experienced anything like that where we need to end a friendship for each other, but maybe you find yourself in those shoes. And I think it takes a lot of prayer. It takes a lot of thought. It takes a lot to, of talking between the two of you to understand why this friendship is not healthy and not good.
Yeah, and I remember this is something that our pastor said that I can apply to this situation, but he was talking about this in terms of small groups. He said, if you go to one small group and you don't like it, then maybe the problem is the small group. If you go to 6 small groups and you don't like it, maybe the problem is with you. And what I'm really referring to there is, like, if you're upset about your spouse's friends and you seem to be upset with every single one of them, maybe take a look and say, is there something that is there a problem with me? Why am I not liking any of these people?
Yeah.
Because if it's one, if your spouse has 10 friends and you're just upset with one of them, then hey, it probably is that person. But if your spouse has 10 friends and you're upset with all of them, I mean, it's possible maybe all 10 are not good people. I don't know. But, just think about it. Well, like, why am I so upset with all of these people? So,
right.
Yeah. So, it's not an easy, it's a lot of these things aren't black and white.
They're not.
Like, yeah, we're giving you tips and we're talking through our opinions on things, but, every situation can be a little bit different. when it comes to that. So, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. You want another one?
Well, I had something else that I wanted to say about
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah.
Except that
It went away.
It did.
Flittered away like a little butterfly.
Oh, yeah.
It just flew away.
Welcome to Heather's brain.
Yes, yes. Speaking of butterflies, we have a window well that was like white metal, and we bought some like fake greenery, and now it looks like, you said it looks like boxwoods. Is that the right
boxwood
word?
hedges.
Yeah, right.
Yes,
yeah.
It's lovely.
See, we're taking a brain break right now. I don't know if you just realized that I did that for you.
Except now I'm focusing on this instead of what my other thought was.
Right. I know. It didn't come back, did it?
Oh, it did.
It did come back. See, it worked.
Yay.
Brain breaks work.
I do that with my students all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So perhaps there is a relationship that you need to end with one of your friends. You know, you want to be careful with that, is like with how you handle it. You don't want to go to them and say, my husband does not like you. He thinks you're a bad influence on me. And so we cannot be friends anymore. Like that is not an appropriate way to go about that. But I think distancing yourself and to where you're not sharing your entire life with that person. Just, what am I trying to say? Just kind of backing away, making a choice to back away. Maybe if, opportunities come up for the two of you to go hang out or go shopping together or dinner together or whatever, maybe you just decline that opportunity and just to kind of, I guess, back away that way. Does that make sense? I hope.
Yep, it sure does. Yep. And that might be a good place for us to start to wind this down. I was just thinking, this just came to me. There's an awesome Bible verse. It's Romans 12:18. It says that if possible, as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone. So I think that would be our encouragement to you that, yes, friendships are not easy. You know, your spouse is different than you. So there's potential that they have friends that are a little bit different than the friends that you would like to hang out. And, you know, obviously be patient, take it slow, talk it through.
Yeah.
Again, don't make rash decisions and judgments and be overly critical, you know, because again, maybe the problem is within you and you need to take some time to figure that out.
Yeah.
Is this the friendship that's the problem? Is it me that's the problem?
Yeah, that's good.
And yeah. So, and I guess with that, you want to go ahead and wind down. So we can wind this down. This is part number 1 of our friends and family tips. And again, part number 1, we were solely focusing on friends. So we would highly encourage you to listen to our next episode on family next time. This is episode number 46. You can find all the show notes at lovehowdeep.com/46. And our next episode will be episode 47. But one thing we want you to pick up before you go, there's a free resource. And since we're talking a lot about friends and friendship and quality time with friends, and that might be a goal of yours as a couple, well, we have a goal-setting worksheet. Actually, you, Heather, were really the driver behind these goal-setting worksheets that we developed. But the one that we're going to refer you and recommend to you, it's called Goal Setting 101. It's developing personal, couple, and family goals. And it's a really cool exercise to do individually, but then also to compare back to each other as your spouse. Yeah. Just to see what they've done. Do you have something you want to add on that?
Yeah, I think, maybe you fill out the entire thing. Maybe you just choose one of those 3 topics, but like for a personal goal, maybe you have it as a personal goal that you're going to distance yourself from someone. So set that as a goal. Mm-hmm. Maybe your personal goal is that you're going to, or maybe you've got a couple goal that you want to start having some double date nights with some friends, because maybe you haven't done that and you're like, you know what, that is kind of missing. I want to share with another couple, share our lives together, sort of thing. So maybe that's a goal. Maybe a family goal is that if you have children, that perhaps your family gets together with another family. You have them over for dinner, or you all go meet up at the park together, something like that. So, we really did kind of focus on couples and friends and stuff like that, but your families are involved too. And so you want your children to see the way that you hang out with and talk and communicate and love on other people. You want them to see you lead by example. So I think that's definitely a good little thing to, print off and create some goals together.
Yep. And that will be in the show notes. So if you go to lovehowdeep.com/46, there will be a link to the Goal Setting 101 worksheet. And with that, we will go ahead and sign off. Thank you so much for listening. We do appreciate everything that you do for us, and we hope that you are finding this content useful. And we will see you and talk to you on our next episode. Take care until then.